cause that be natural.
Lady
I ain't
D.
looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm so nappy.
M.O.B.
Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
I ain't looking tacky cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fat, boo. I'm so natural, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo stuck in these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Down the jersey on that cartoon and I'm still on top.
Hey guys, welcome back to Afros and Baby Hairs, and thank you so much for joining me in the reading room today for book review number 8. And this review is going to be on A Child of a Crackhead by Shameek A. Speight. I am not and do not encourage or promote this book to anyone who is under the age of 18. That is not my intention or motive. This book and video is for an adult audience. I am merely sharing my opinion of this book. If you are under the age of 18, please get your parents' consent and or supervision before reading this book or watching this video. Otherwise, keep it moving. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get into this. And we're going to start off by reading the back of the book, and it reads, A Child of a Crackhead. He watched as she screamed and yelled with every strike that the man made to her face. From her mouth, she spit blood that was rolling down her face. He continued with this 6'2" dark-skinned man repeatedly hit and kicked the woman in the stomach again and again. No, stop. Please stop, she yelled. His closed fists went upside her head. Michael knew he had to do something to stop the man from beating the beautiful brown-skinned woman. With tears running down his own face, he yelled, Daddy, stop! Daddy, stop! As he ran his 6-year-old frame between his father and mother. Daddy, stop hitting Mommy. All he felt was his father's big black hands grasp him around the neck and squeeze until he couldn't breathe. He threw Michael across the room. He sat on the floor crying, partly because of the pain he felt, but mostly because of the beating his mother was getting. How does Michael, a child of a crackhead, fight to stay alive? What will be his fate and those he truly loved? Do they survive the terror of the man they call Black Ice? The story tells the countless beatings, killings, lies, infidelity, and betrayals of a crackhead and how a mother and child survived the life of the streets. A true tale of courage when faced with extraordinary odds. A Child of a Crackhead teaches you to never underestimate a mother's struggle. Sidney Little, author of Drama, Another Man's Girl, a novel. So, like I said, this is A Child of a Crackhead, and it says a fight to stay alive, how a mother and child survived the street life. So, basically, I want to tell you about the story and then give you my opinions. Okay, I want to start off with the actual characters. The first one being Black Ice. He is the main character who is a crackhead and a drug dealer, also very violent and heartless. Rachel is Black Ice's wife and mother of Black Ice Jr. or Michael Jr. Roxy is Black Ice's side chick who he turned into a crackhead. Black Ice Jr. or Michael Jr., like I said, is Black Ice's and Rachel's 6-year-old son. You have also Caesar is Black Ice's goon or his right hand, and also Ace is Black Ice's goon and right hand. You have Brian, who is Rachel's uncle, who is a child molester and rapist, basically a sexual predator, and I say that because he also threatened to rape Black Ice as well. Lisa is Ace's gold digging baby mama who only got with Ace for the money. They have 2 children according to Ace. However, the younger one belongs to Caesar. So she is also Caesar's baby mama. You have Shelly, who is Lisa's babysitter, and she's a neighborhood thought turned crackhead thanks to Black Ice. You have J-Rock, who is another drug dealer from a different block, and Smoke is J-Rock's right hand. Ray Ray is a friend of Black Ice. You have Janet, who is Rachel's younger cousin. You have JJ, who is Janet's boyfriend. And then you have Detective Roy, a detective who headed out for Black Ice over the years. I think that's all of the characters. So anyway, this book basically begins with Black Ice beating his wife Rachel. He is high and went high on crack. This is his normal behavior. He is also attacking his son, who is trying to protect his mother. The son is about 6 years old. The wife somehow slices black ice with a razor across the face while he was attacking the son, and then Rachel and his son attempt to escape. However, black ice caught up to them and drags them back up 5 floors to give them a near-death beatdown. The next pointer is black ice hooked up with a college girl named Roxy somewhere along the way. At first, she wanted nothing to do with him because he was a drug dealer. However, she liked to smoke weed, and with that, he won her over. He ended up smoking with her, but the weed was laced with crack. He got her hooked quickly simply because he wanted her. They ended up smoking straight crack after so many blunts. So basically, Roxy ended up as Black Ice's side piece as well as a crackhead, all in the same night. Roxy ended up getting out there real bad, selling her body for drugs. However, Black Ice ended up murking the dudes he caught her with. For 1, she was doing her business in the apartment that he got her. For 2, she was pregnant with his baby. And 3, he had an endless supply of drugs. Roxy was a victim of Black Ice's brutal beatings as well. She wanted to leave the drugs as well as Black Ice, but couldn't resist the cravings for the drug, and she felt like if she ran from Black Ice, he would eventually find her and murk her as well. Black Ice's right hands, Ace and Caesar, are planning to take him out so that they can take over the drug game. They think Black Ice is slipping because he is now a crackhead. No, that Caesar also wanted Roxy before she got turned out, and after seeing her beaten and bloody, he still wanted to be with her. Rachel and Black Ice met when she was 15 and he was 21. Her mother was a drug addict, so she was raised by her grandmother along with 10 other cousins living there. Also, her grandmother's youngest son, who was 21. Rachel was poor, wearing hand-me-downs, even down to the drawers. There was barely any food. Anyway, one day she was walking home from school and bumped into Black Ice, who at the time was tall, dark, and handsome, and well dressed. Most boys didn't pay Rachel any attention, not because she wasn't beautiful, but because she didn't dress like the other girls. Anyway, she hooked up with Black Ice, and he basically gave her whatever she wanted. Later into the relationship, she ended up getting pregnant, and the 21-year-old uncle ended up raping her. She found out that he had raped all the girl cousins, even the little ones. Black Ice ended up finding out and simply beat the brakes off of dude, then snatched the dude's whole entire voice box out with his bare hands. And if that wasn't enough, he cut dude's penis off and stuck it in his mouth and left dude in the alley to die. So that was our first taste of how vicious this man actually is. And I'm trying to read my own handwriting. That's why I put my glasses on, because I wrote this pretty sloppy. But anyway, Black Ice soon discovered that the same evil that runs in his own blood is flowing through his son's body, because they had a stare down one night. His son thought he was hurting the mom again. However, some extracurricular activities were going on, yet and still little man was not having it. Caesar was playing just as many mind games with Lisa as Lisa was playing with Ace. Lisa was talking Ace into growing a backbone to help Caesar smoke out Black Ice. Caesar was fooling Lisa like he was going to take her away from Ace and be one big happy family, when in reality he just wanted Ace to help him Black Ice out so that he could run things. And he also wanted to raise his son without Lisa. He planned on taking his son from her because she was a thought. The only reason why they ended up messing around is because he caught her cheating with another dude. To keep him from telling Ace, she started throwing it back to Caesar, then ended up pregnant with their child. The scandals. Ice wasn't able to locate Roxy after he gave her that beat down for tricking. So he became furious and started taking it out on his wife Rachel and son, especially when Rachel refused to smoke crack with him. This time he wore them out with an extension cord. Ace decided to go ask for help to take out Black Ice. They reached out to J-Rock and Smoke. These dudes were holding down another block, but wasn't getting nearly as much bread as Black Ice's crew. So Caesar and Ace propositioned them and told them how bad Black Ice had fallen off since smoking crack and how crazy he was going trying to find Roxy. J-Rock and Smoke feared Black Ice and remembered what had happened to the last dude that tried to play Black Ice. However, they still had dollar signs in their eyes. Either way, they agreed to help Caesar and Ace, but at the same time was plotting to murk them too. Black Ice's son, Michael Jr., or Black Ice Jr., tried to murk his dad. He took the crack pipe and stuffed it with shattered glass. While Black Ice was asleep, when he woke up, he saw his son standing over him staring. Then he grabbed his crack pipe and proceeded to smoke. But on the inhalation, his throat and chest began to burn, and he began to cough up blood until he passed out. Of course, Rachel saved him, and the son didn't know why his mother was trying to save his dad after all the beatings Black Ice ended up giving them. So Black Ice went to the hospital. They removed the glass and he was released the next morning. Next pointer, Black Ice basically beat and burned his son for trying to kill him as soon as he got home. He also beat Rachel too for trying to protect her son. He was going to repeatedly burn Black Ice Jr. if the mother hadn't come up with a nice distraction. She decided to smoke crack with Black Ice just to stop him from beating and burning Black Ice Jr. with the hot cone. He also was choking the boy. Black Ice finds out Lisa and Caesar are messing around. He followed them around all day, and after shopping and a movie, they went to a hotel. While inside, Black Ice stabbed both back tires on Caesar's car. Black Ice ended up going back to Lisa's house to get info out of the babysitter, as well as get her on crack and mess around with her. When Black Ice got the info he needed, he left. So this is when he finds out through the babysitter that Caesar is actually the father of Lisa's youngest child instead of Ace. So anyway, repeat that. Ace ended up beating Lisa home due to Black Ice flattening Caesar's back tire. So Lisa had to think of a way to get Ace to ease up with the questioning. The con artist that she is, she was able to think fast on her feet and had the man eating her out while Caesar's semen was still in her. Nasty. Rachel ended up taking Black Ice Jr. to live with her grandmother the same way her mother did her and never returned. The attempt to take out Black Ice went terribly wrong. All of J-Rock's men got smoked except J-Rock and Smoke. However, they did end up stealing Black Ice's money during the shootout. The cops also showed up and got shot down by Black Ice. Black Ice ends up going to Ray Ray's apartment. Black Ice sent Ray Ray to follow the officer that didn't get killed during the shootout because Ray Ray heard him telling the detective he could point out in a lineup who shot the other officers. Ray Ray followed the officer and got the address of his home to give to Black Ice. Detectives ended up going by Rachel's apartment to ask about Black Ice. However, Rachel hadn't seen him in 3 days. She was actually needing more crack and was wondering where he was. After the detective threatened her and said they would be back, she packed up everything and tried to find one of his other apartments in the city to go lay low in. So at this point, Rachel is strung out as well from starting to smoke with Black Ice when he was beating the son. So she has gotten really strung out on crack too. Black Ice sliced up Ray Ray in the midst of being high. He discovered what he had done 5 days after the fact due to getting high with Ray Ray. Black Ice left Ray Ray's headed to go quiet the cop who claimed he could point him out in a lineup. The man's name was Officer Reed. Black Ice got to Officer Reed's house 8 hours before he got off work so that he could begin working on the wife. By the time Officer Reed made it home, Black Ice and the wife had messed around for 8 whole hours straight. Officer Reed walked in on their last round. He ended up getting knocked out with the butt of the gun, duct taped, and hogtied. He did the same for the wife, then cut off her nipple and one of her ears, went upstairs and got their newborn baby, put a hole in his chest, turned around and put a hole in the wife's head, and then after making Officer Reed witness it all, he took him out of his misery as well. Even though Caesar and Ace are afraid that Black Ice will soon discover they had something to do with the attempt on his life, they are still plotting to murk him, especially now since J-Rock and Smoke can't be found. Also, Ace is suspecting something is going on with Lisa and Caesar because Caesar brought up something that Ace only spoke to Lisa about in private. However, they are planning to take out Black Ice when he comes to pick up his money. In the meantime, Black Ice Jr. was growing angry because his mother hadn't come back for him in 5 weeks. His heart was turning cold, and he started to release his anger out on his cousin Pookie, even threatened the grandmother because she kept calling him a child of a crackhead. Rachel ended up reaching out to her younger cousin Janet for help. Janet agreed. And Rachel ended up going to get Black Ice Jr. from the grandmother's house, and they all headed to go live with Rachel. Michael was so happy, especially to know that his mother didn't want to do crack anymore. Then was hiding out in his apartment since the attempt on Black Ice's life, but he was getting horny and decided to call Shelly. Little did he know Shelly showed up with Black Ice. Now remember, Shelly is the babysitter for Lisa. Black Ice ended up cutting out J-Rock's tongue and eyes, not sure whether dude lived or died because Black Ice left him duct taped to a bed, bleeding from the eyes and mouth. Next pointer, Rachel basically detoxed herself in Janet's basement where she was locked in. Black Ice Jr. was right there on the other side of the door encouraging her. Eventually, she detoxed completely, started gaining weight, and got her skin clear. After getting clean, they started shopping, basically spending Black Ice's money. So she got better, got off drugs, they started shopping and started looking better. Pointer, Black Ice set up a meeting spot to pick up his money from Ace and Caesar. While waiting on them, he was lost in thought, thinking about Rachel and his son, and then off to thinking about Roxy. He wanted to kill them all for running off. While lost in thought, bullets came flying at him from Ace and Caesar. Somehow he got out of his car and began firing back. They ended up hitting him at least 3 times while he was running, 2 to the shoulder and 1 to the butt cheeks. Cops came on the scene firing at Ace and Caesar, but also helping and saving Black Ice, who was at this point passed out bleeding. Black Ice ended up escaping from the hospital. He had to send an officer into cardiac arrest using syringes full of air bubbles so that he could get the keys to uncuff himself from the bed. Later, a worker brought him dinner. He threatened to kill him with the officer's gun just to have clothes to wear to escape the hospital. Either way, he escaped, all with a vengeance to murk Ace and Caesar for trying to take him out. Detective Roy comes to the hospital the next morning to discover the worker who brought Black Ice food laying in the hospital bed bleeding to death in the place of Black Ice. He also discovered the officer who was supposed to be guarding the room was dead underneath the hospital bed. Detective Roy ordered to shut down the hospital, hoping to stop Black Ice from escaping. Little did he know Black Ice was long gone as of yesterday. Corner, Ace and Caesar was definitely handling business since they didn't have Black Ice to worry about. They thought Black Ice was in the hospital heading to prison. Ace ended up buying a house for Lisa and their 2 sons. Next is trying to convince Caesar to tell Ace about them so she doesn't have to be with Ace anymore. She still thinks Caesar wants her. However, Caesar knows Lisa is scandalous and he never wanted to be with her because she is a thought. He also sees how she is doing Ace when Ace is trying to keep her happy and trying to give her the world. Taking out Ace, but not until he gets Lisa to tell him what she's been up to with Caesar. Black Ice had her butt naked and hanging from the ceiling by a rope. They had smoked crack and messed around all night after he followed her home from sneaking around with Caesar. Anyway, she told Ace that she had been sleeping with Caesar for 3 years, then told him the youngest child wasn't his. Then Black Ice told him that she had just slept with him all night and smoked crack. Plus told him where the stash was. Black Ice ended up having to shoot Ace because he dodged for his gun he had dropped when he was initially startled by Black Ice upon entering the house. However, Ace was only getting the gun to take Lisa out. I think he shot her in the temple like 3 times before they both died. The younger son was killed earlier by Black Ice. Black Ice went to break into Caesar's place only to find him on top of Roxy. Caesar had taken Roxy in and was trying to keep her safe from Black Ice. They began to get closer, then one thing led to another. Anyhow, Black Ice ended up beating Caesar unconscious. He ended up shooting Roxy twice, even though she was pregnant with his baby. He took Caesar's body and stuffed him in a barrel alive, gave him a bag, but told him stuff was in there to help him escape. Then dumped the barrel into the Coney Island Ocean. As the barrel was sinking, Caesar decided to try to get to the bag that Black Ice had tossed in there, only to find his son's arm with the hand still attached and his son's head, eyes wide open. Obviously, Roxy didn't instantly die. When the cops discovered her, she was still alive. They got her to the hospital, especially with her being 8 months pregnant. Finding Rachel and Black Ice Jr., he killed Janet's boyfriend, JJ, shot Rachel and he shot Janet, and he also beat Janet. And then Rachel stabbed Black Ice in the stomach while he was attacking Janet. Then he began to beat Rachel and Janet. Meanwhile, his son dipped off to the mother's hiding spot and got one of the guns he had seen his mother hide. He came back up the stairs, and in the midst of Black Ice stomping the women, his son shot him a few times. He raised his gun to fire back at his son, and his son fired 2 more shots. One of them hit Black Ice in the head. However, Black Ice was able to get a shot in. He ended up shooting his son in the chest. They both died. However, that was just the son's daydreaming. Son really did shoot his father, and everyone thought he was dead. But by the time the police and ambulance got there, Black Ice had disappeared. She ended up having an emergency C-section. She lost a lot of blood. After her son was born, she was able to name him after his dad, and then she died. The baby, of course, he had crack in his system and would be placed in foster care. Goes into book 2, and it's pretty much saying that Black Ice Jr. or Michael Jr. is all grown up and being the opposite of his father. He didn't allow men to abuse women in his neighborhood, and if they did, he took them out one limb at a time and kept one as his souvenir. Now, I think his nickname in the second book is Evil. My opinion and thoughts on this is a whole lot of, but Black Ice seems to be a little insane, and this crack is not making it any better. It kind of puts me in the mind of the cartel a little bit, but I'm still trying to get into this storyline. I'm trying to keep up with what's really going on, but I really haven't formed a opinion yet. I guess I have to read part 2 to get a little bit more involved, but so far it's okay. It's just a lot of violence. It's getting a bit gruesome, and that's all I can say for right now. That's it, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and I do want to thank you all for tuning in today. I really appreciate your time and energy. I hope to see you guys on the next video. Peace and love, and as always,
DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural.
Lady
I ain't
D.
looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm so nappy. Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
I ain't looking tacky. Cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so natural, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a tapu. Y'all is jersey on that cartoon, and I'm sitting on top of these buffaloes. I'm so nappy, I'm so nappy. All these dudes that wanna get at me, I'm so cultured and I'm happy. Jealous witches wanna come back me, cause I'm comfortable in my skin. End of the day, you lose, I win. I'm so comfortable in my ends, don't care if I make or lose a few friends, and I look like $1 trillion. Lady be won a lotto, cause in the Lord I trust, and beauty is the motto. Naturally thick in the bud, I'm Billy Blanks on the Tabo. Edges a little rough, just pretend I'm from Morocco. Organ all up in my hair, cause I let my